It all comes down to this. Our BBH 21 Final 3. Arun, a constant strategic presence, used his social relationships to navigate throughout the season. Stephanie, a comp beast who never took her foot off the gas, delivered clutch victories down the stretch. Victoria, our org newbie, built lasting bonds and stuck to her guns while surviving the block throughout the season. Tonight we'll crown a final HOH before our final two face off against the jury. It's been a 35-day long power struggle, and Arun, Stephanie, Victoria have outlasted the rest. Tonight we add a new name to the list of BBH champions. Who will win? Who will lose? It all happens live tonight on the Big Brother Hometown Season 21 finale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother Hometown Season 21 finale. I'm Josh, with you here as always. I am so excited about us wrapping up our season this evening. We got a big night ahead, so I don't want to waste too much time with announcements and blah, 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 but I do want to share just a couple things that are going to be happening because some of you at the end, I want to be able to celebrate our winner. I don't want to worry about announcements later. Our off season is coming up soon, and we have a lot of big plans coming up. Some of them I'm going to keep to myself, but the first thing I'm going to say is that tomorrow night we will be resuming episodes of The Chase that will air tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So come watch The Chase tomorrow night if you've been watching that. If not, come watch. And then we have a lot of fun, as always, some fun trivia, games and ideas, some things you might be interested in. We'll talk about those kind of things in the community server, in the Facebook page, all that good stuff. Just wanted to get that out at the top. Let me welcome in a few of my production members that are here backstage, and I will just let them say hey and give any thoughts I'd like to give as we open up our finale night. I'm just going to bring them all in at once. Here's Carl and Max and Lee. Carl, you followed them for 35 very close days, both in competitions and in morning tea. What you got?
It has been a Team TV season, and I'm super excited for this final three, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Couldn't have three different people here at the end, so super excited to see who comes out on top.
Max?
The winner circle always has room for one more, so we'll welcome you with open arms and then send you out the door in Winners at War.
And Lee, without mentioning anything that might benefit you tonight, how are you feeling?
To mirror Max, the runner-up circle also always has room for one more. So I will welcome you with open arms as well.
Can't wait for runners up at war. Which isn't happening. All right, let's get to it. Gonna get Lee and Max and Carl out of here, and I'm gonna bring in Steph and Arun, who are about to compete in part 3, the final HOH competition. I'm not gonna make them wait this out anymore because I know that they've both been thinking about this all day long. So let's just jump in. Are we ready to do this? All right, I assume you both have a piece of paper on you ready to go. There should be no surprises as to what you're about to endure. If you don't have that, you need A on one side, B on another, or like Arun has, an A and a B. And I will explain the competition now. Welcome to your part 3 of the final HOH. This is a BBH classic. We've done it every season as part 3 of the final HOH, and we'll probably continue to do it forever. It is called Jury Questions. This challenge is played in 12 rounds. In each round, I will read a question we asked a particular juror, followed by 2 possible responses. It is your job to identify which response the juror actually said. The player who correctly answers the most questions will win the final HOH. If there's a tiebreaker, you know the deal. We will have a tiebreaker question ready to go. There are 6 jurors, so 12 questions. That means we have 2 questions per juror. And as per most of these competitions, when you're ready to lock it in, just hold your answer up to yourself, and then I'll tell you to reveal. We'll have the scoreboard running on the bottom. Carl will put the questions on the screen as well for you to read, for our viewers to read. But without further ado, I will now read question number 1. When asked which other player was robbed, Polo said A, Maddie, or B, Drew. When asked which other player was robbed, Polo said A, Maddie, or B, Drew. All right, we're both locked in. Let's reveal. You have different answers. Steph says A, Maddie. Arun says B, Drew. The correct answer is Maddie, and Stephanie is on the board. Question number 2. When asked what she valued most as a juror, Jackie said A, being able to adapt, or B, the strength of your personal relationships. When asked what she valued most as a juror, Jackie said A, being able to adapt, or B, the strength of your personal relationships. All right, we're locked in. Let's reveal. Once again, Steph says A and Arun says B. And once again, Stephanie is correct. It was A, being able to adapt. It is 2-0 after 2 questions, 10 questions left to go. Question number 3. When asked who was the most trustworthy player in the game, Alex said A, Victoria, or B, Jackie. When asked who the most trustworthy player in the game was, Alex, A, Victoria, or B, Jackie. You're both locked in. Let's reveal. We flip-flopped, but we have different answers once again, and the correct answer is B, Jackie, and he is correct once again. It is 3-0 going to question number 4. When asked the best part of playing BBH, Calvin said A, winning my first ever HOH, or B, playing for a good cause. When asked the best part of playing BBH, Calvin said A, winning my first ever HOH, or B, playing for a good cause. Let's reveal. 2 different answers again. Arun, you're on the board this time. It is cause. Next question. When asked the biggest move of the game, Megan said A, the Alex backdoor, or B, the Drew blindside. When asked the biggest move of the game, Megan said A, the Alex backdoor, or B, the Drew blindside.
Sorry.
No, you're good. All right, let's reveal. You both said A. You are both correct. It is the Alex backdoor. Score is 4-2. Next question. When asked the hardest part of the game, Sterling said A, being evicted by Arun despite our endgame deal, or B, listening to Alex cry when I sunk his game. When asked the hardest part of the game, Sterling said A, being evicted by Arun despite our endgame deal, or B, listening to Alex cry when I sunk his game. Let's reveal. You both put listening to poor Alex cry when Sterling sunk his game, and that is correct. Halfway through, the score is 5-3. Here's question number 7. When asked what competition was their favorite, Polo said A, Reflex Pitfall, or B, Blockbuster. When asked what their favorite competition was, Polo said A, Reflex Pitfall, or B, Blockbuster. Let's reveal. Steph says A. Arun says B. The correct answer is Reflex Pitfall, and Stephanie is correct. It is 6-3. Yes. Next question. When asked what her biggest regret in the game was, Jackie said A, not backdooring Megan at Live Night, or B, not building more relationships outside of Alex and Polo. When asked what her biggest regret in the game was, Jackie said A, not backdooring Megan at Live Night, or B, not building more relationships outside of Alex and Polo. Let's reveal. Arun says A, and Stephanie says B. The correct answer is A, not backdooring Megan at Live Night. Arun gets a little closer. It is 6-4. When asked who his mortal enemy in the game was, Alex said A, Arun, B, Calvin. When asked who his mortal enemy in the game was, Alex said A, Arun, B, Calvin. And reveal. Arun says himself. Stephanie says Calvin. The correct answer is Calvin. When asked, I think it's is it out of reach? I think it's out of reach officially, if my math is correct. It's not?
There's still 3 questions.
Did I skip one? Oh no,
There's-
I did not. I'm sorry. Sorry. I see what I did. We got 3 questions left. It's not out of reach. Question number 10. When asked who the least trustworthy player in the game was, Calvin said A. Arun, B. Alex. When asked who the least trustworthy player in the game was, Calvin said A. Arun, B. Alex. And reveal. You both say A. Arun, and that is correct. And now I believe it is officially out of reach. Congratulations, Stephanie. You have won the final head of household competition. A tough one, 12 tough questions. Well, we got through 11 or so, but congratulations, Stephanie. We're going to bring Victoria in now. And here's how this will work. I will, in a moment, allow Victoria to go first. She will plead her case to Stephanie. Then I'll let Arun plead his. And then, Stephanie, you will make your decision. So without further ado, Victoria, you have the floor.
I feel like what I'm saying is not groundbreaking. We've already had this chat. I think you have a better chance of winning against me than you do against Arun. I think Arun has played a very strategic game. I think others agree with me. So yeah, I think I'm your better chance at winning. But good luck with your decision.
Arun.
Congratulations, Stephanie. We played a lot of this game together, and I think that we definitely navigated throughout this game in lockstep for a good chunk of the game. And I think I just have a lot of explaining to do. I think that my game was kind of hidden and not really exposed to the light that your game was. And I think that it's a really tough battle for me to climb with this jury that I would love to give the opportunity to if you would let me. I think you're amazing, and I think that I would be happy with either of us winning this game, and I think it would be just the best ending to this season. Good luck.
All right, Stephanie, the floor is yours.
Okay. This is a very difficult decision. Arun, we have played this whole game together, and I'm sorry, I'm crying. I think that our games are really similar, and I think that you have played the game that I wish I played. Like you have played an amazing game, and I think that you told me like you've had to be selfish in the past, and I think this is the one time I need to be selfish for me. And I think if I were on the jury, I would vote for you, and for that reason, I think I have to evict you, and I'm really, really sorry.
And with that, that is official, Arun. You have been evicted in third place, but what a game you played. My goodness gracious, Arun. And you know, just because it falls short here does not mean it was not, or could not be worthy of winning. So congratulations on a game incredibly well played. I know Prod, I like to think I'm speaking for all of production on that behalf. It was just unbelievably fun to watch you this season, but unfortunately in your household for now, it'll only be Megs as a BBH winner. But we love you very much, and we've loved having you on this season. We're going to send you off to the jury unless you have any quick things you want to say, and then we'll see you back here later for your jury questioning.
Great game, Arun.
Thank you, Victoria. No, I think this game has definitely been exactly what I wanted it to be. Seeing just navigating it through last season in the VL and then being able to play it this time around, I think I definitely gave this season the Aruni touch, and I think that I will have an everlasting imprint on this game. And Stephanie, I get it. Don't worry about it. I love you to death. And the one thing that I want to say is, because I can't explain this in the finals, that I know I had flaws in this game, and it was regarding the jury. And just know the jury, I am aware of it, and I was ready to explain it all to you. I know my game had flaws, and I was ready to come clean with them all. So good luck, Stephanie. Good luck, Victoria. I'm so proud when he was about to win this damn game.
Thank you so much, Arun. We will see you a little bit later for your official jury questioning. And otherwise, Stephanie, Victoria, you've gone as far as you can go in a season of BBH. And, you know, I say this almost every season, but in every season of Survivor, Jeff Probst says the power shifts to the jury, and I fully disagree because the power is in your hands to defend your games right now. The jury is very much ready to come in and grill you for your games, ask you important questions, and this thing will not be decided, you know, easily by the 7 people on our jury. I know that for sure. So, in a moment, I will let you will give your opening statements, and then we'll bring the jurors in one at a time. Jury, remember, you're running on an operating time of roughly 10 minutes. If I feel like we're being productive, then I'm not going to get in that way. If I feel like we're being unproductive or going down rabbit holes we don't need to go down, or if things, whatever, this is a high pressure situation for everyone, then I will not be afraid to pull the plug. So just be mindful of that. But I think that we're going to have a really great jury questioning. So I'm excited about that. Stephanie, as the final HOH, you can decide if you'd like to go first now or you would like to go first in your closing statement. So whatever you do now, you'll do the opposite in the closing statements.
Okay, I'll go first now and then second for closing.
Amazing. So what I will do is I will get off screen, and Stephanie, you can get right to it. When you are done, you can just pass the torch to Victoria and let her give hers, and I don't need to, come in and do that. So best of luck to you both, and let's do this.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I know I can't see you, but we will soon. First of all, I wanted to thank all of production for their work. This has been like the smoothest, most flexible, well-run game, and I really appreciate the countless hours that you all put into that. So thank you very much. And I will do my best to keep this short and sweet, but explain the game that I played. So I want to say that I focused on three main things this game. I focused on the control of information flow, always having options, and timing. So I've never played a Big Brother game and never really watched the season either, so I was a bit overwhelmed having to manage 15 different relationships at the same time, and it took me a few rounds to get my footing, but I navigated through that. I used that fact that I didn't know Big Brother to my advantage, and I played up that fact that this format was extremely new, and I wanted to be underestimated in a challenge, strategic, and social sense. And as some people noticed, I kept my cards very close to my chest. I wanted people to think that I was alone and that I could be a crucial player in their games. So I was in a total of 7 different alliances this game, none of which I created myself, and this was an extremely deliberate choice, as I wanted others to feel like they were in control, and therefore I couldn't be blamed for anything. And obviously, if I was asked, I would say I wanted to be in the alliance. So I worked very closely with Arun the whole game, and we had decided to stay as unattached to each other as possible. He quickly told me about Victoria's Mother alliance with Kay and Megan early on, and also I knew about the Alkaline Alliance as soon as it was formed, and the Compist Alliance as well. I'd shared information about my alliances as well, but to a much lesser extent. I gave general recaps. I never really shared specific details about those chats that I did share. I shared the Addams family and Chartreuse, shout out Chartreuse. But I never shared that I had a group chat with Calvin and Jackie. I never shared very specific things. I withheld the information for a few rounds as well. I never was first to jump the gun. I only offered that information after being offered information first. So all my information was a little bit delayed in getting to him for myself so that I would have the most information in the game. And then I did leak 2 alliances to Arun and Calvin, and this was to prevent stuff from blowing up later, which ended up being good because after Alex's eviction with a few alliances being exposed, I had already done proactive damage control, and I had very minimal backlash after that. And then within that, my one-on-one relationships were always more important to me than alliances. Even within my alliances, I would be sure to reach out individually and consult both people before sharing with the group so that they felt that they had input on what I chose to do. Starting in jury, I knew I had to play more aggressively. I knew from Arun that Alex had suspicions of me targeting him and was planning on using me as a pawn. So when the plan to backdoor him formed, I purposely announced my absence to avoid the blame. This worked great, and Alex gave me a lot of information on his way out that confirmed stuff that I already knew. And then when it came time for Polo or Megan to be voted out, I told Polo that Alex was the one who gave me the information, when in reality it was revealed to me through Arun rounds before. And then the following round, when Sterling nominated me, I told Polo that I voted for them because of information. I told Sterling that Polo had leaked an alliance when in reality it was Arun, and I knew that none of this information could be fact-checked because people were on jury already. So I used the previous evictees' connections to push me closer to people that I wasn't working with. And then at the final 8, I was in a multi-person alliance with every single person left in the game and was extremely insulated. And then during final 5 and 4 rounds, Arun had admitted to planting seeds against me and wanting to take a shot at me if I had not won all of those vetoes. He said that since live night, he'd been asking around if I had ever thrown his name out and was shocked to find out that I had not. This is not true. Sorry, Arun. I told Calvin pretty early on that we shouldn't trust Arun and that I was planting seeds to get Arun out later on. And Jackie and I also discussed nominating Arun and Sterling together. And the fact that he was unable to find this information despite asking people specifically means that I was aware enough of social relationships to only tell the right people this information to prevent leaks. I also had many options throughout the game. Whenever it came down to voting, I knew that no matter the outcome, I would be able to proceed forward with the person who stayed and better my position in the game. I had thrown every single challenge during pre-jury besides the reverse it challenge, and that was because I knew Alex was trying really hard in that challenge and he would have put me up next to Calvin. I also threw every veto that I played. I played 10 this season, besides the ones when I was on the block, of course, because I didn't want to show my cards of who I was loyal to, the HOH or either nominee, because I felt good with all three most of the time. I didn't want people to know where I stood or have any reason to be upset with me. And especially with the team twist, I think that it was impressive to be on the most targeted team and stay safe. I aimed to be perfectly mid in each challenge, or I'd still earn points, but I would never be targeted if people wanted immunity at live night. So I used Polo, Sterling, and Kelvin as shields and took the opportunity to hide my challenge abilities. I also took a shot at people when I knew that they had plans that didn't involve me, because I knew that if you weren't with me, you were probably against me. And I know that Alex had wanted to put me up, so I pushed for him to go. I knew that Polo was in an alliance with Megan, Sterling, and Arun when denying it, even when the vote came close. So once I got this information, I knew it was safe to take them out without it being considered a backstab, as they had shown signs of disloyalty to me first. I also deliberately placed where I did in each competition, and because of this, people underestimated my challenge abilities, and I knew that I would become more and more vulnerable towards the end, so I knew that it was crucial to get rid of my biggest challenge threats, which were Alex and Polo. And while I did believe them when they told me that they wouldn't target me in the short term, I knew I would eventually need to win power myself, which I needed to, winning 3 vetoes in a row and then the following 2 HOHs. And I'm the only person in this game who has not been on the final block. I was never eligible to receive a vote. I was self-aware enough to know when I could throw challenges and when I needed to win them. I pulled myself off the block and avoided being nominated in the first place so that people wouldn't even have an opportunity to vote for me, and therefore there was no bad blood or easy reason to put me up in the future. Overall, I think I played the most well-rounded game. I built the social connections to be extremely flexible and fluid in my game, having people in my corner in various groups. I positioned myself well during the team portion of the game to have 3 shields in front of me, ultimately only trying for the HOH right before live night to ensure my team's safety. I played an honest game and didn't backstab people unless they had acted against me first. And I hid my challenge abilities till the end. When everyone wanted me gone, none of them were able to achieve this goal, and here I am. I was never on the final block and never vulnerable of going home, and I've controlled a lot of information. So thank you for listening to all that, and I look forward to your questions.
Is it my turn to talk, or do they ask you questions first? My turn to talk? Okay, cool. Sorry. It is absolutely no secret that I came into this game with absolutely zero prior knowledge of anything. This is my first org game, even though some of you apparently didn't believe that. But this is, in fact, my first org game. I have never seen an episode of Big Brother, so I came into this game honestly with the intention of meeting people and having a good time, and then made it further than I thought I would and quickly realized it's probably good to have a strategy. So my strategy was very much, I get to go all Shark Week on y'all. I freaking love sharks. But my strategy was very much, you're new to this. Everyone else here, with the exception of one, is not brand new to this. Be a pilot fish, which if nobody is familiar with what pilot fish are, they are the fish that latch on to the apex predators and slide under their stomach, under their wings, or by their mouths, where they can't be seen, can't be eaten, but benefit from all of the predatory actions of the apex predators that they bond with. So my goal was to identify big players, identify players that can benefit me moving forward, and incite those players against players that I knew will not benefit me moving forward. And so I think it's no secret to anybody that one of those sharks that I pilot fished was definitely Arun. Another one being Stephanie. Sorry, Stephanie, I did want you gone at one point. I know I wasn't entirely truthful about that. I wanted you gone. You were one of my sharks, and then you kind of I thought stopped serving me, but then here we are. And then Sterling was another, as was Alex. And so I picked players that were influential, players that other people viewed as potential threats, and really allowed most other people to do my dirty work for me. I did not throw all of my competitions. There were definitely competitions that I threw when I didn't want to be HOH, and allowed others to, again, do my dirty work for me, keep my hands clean. And while Stephanie never saw the block, I saw the block 5 times and still survived, which I think says a heck of a lot. Yeah, I focused a lot on personal relationships. I wasn't as big on having all of these formal alliances because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. People are playing their own game, and you can be in alliance with 5 people, and all 5 of those people are focused on them, not necessarily on you. So I focused a lot more on one-to-one personal connections versus ensuring that I was in all of these alliances, which served me well because here I sit. But yeah, I allowed the fact that I have never done this before. I allowed myself to play dumb to certain players. I used that, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going on. This is so crazy. I don't know what to do, to get information out of people. And I allowed people to think that I was easily pliable and easily manipulated. I'm not. But I allowed people to think that I was, and that I was on board with them and making the decisions they wanted. But at the end of the day, I stuck to my guns. Every decision that I made was a decision that I wanted to make, not necessarily a decision somebody else wanted to make. But I was not hesitant to act as though decisions I made were decisions other people wanted me to make. But yeah, I stuck to my guns. I voted in the minority several times because that was what I felt was the right vote to cast. And I did not allow anybody else to dictate my game. My game was 100% Victoria. And that's all I got.
All right, let's go ahead and get to our jurors. The first one here tonight, he was the mayor of Jurytown. You're a friend of mine. Here he is, Alex Viber.
Sorry. Hello, friends. Can you hear me okay? Okay, wonderful. So, I will say I am around August right now because after I got evicted, I was very deeply depressed and I booked a trip to America spontaneously. So, thank you very much for allowing me to have this opportunity. That being said, I was gonna come into this and kind of, could you not sabotage this?
Are those the final 2?
Yes. So, I was gonna come into this and just kind of like selfishly be like, you know what? I feel like I wasn't really heard out when I was evicted, but I'm also just like, it's fine. It's been enough time. I'm over it. And so I would like to dedicate my first introduction just to kind of gas both of you up a little bit and then give you an opportunity to do so as well. Because I think that this is going to be a very tough night. There are a lot of undecided people. There are a lot of people very curious to see what you have done, how you're going to phrase this. And
Hi, friends in the background. We've been working at this game for almost a month and a half now. So if you could pretty please stop being distracting in the background, our final 2 would very much appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I am so sorry. Let me just switch my location. I agree, though. I didn't expect everyone to be here with 5 minutes to go. Sorry. Let me just get into this. So, Stephanie, I will say that I always appreciate somebody being able to avoid the block all the way until the end. I mean, you were nominated a couple times and took yourself off every single time effectively, but there are many of us who tried that and failed. Some of us who thought that we would be able to win all of these challenges and just kind of failed at them because I tried to win HOH 5 times in a row and I was fucking awful at it. There are going to be a couple questions from jurors about maybe the way that you kind of fell off socially with them throughout the game. I'm sure that someone will give you like an ample time to address this. But I want you to know, regardless of what happens tonight, that you can be very proud of yourself for actually achieving this feat. And yeah, I feel like in Big Brother itself, and even in the series, there's not a whole lot of people who can say that they played a, I want to say, so-called perfect game, in the sense they've not received any eviction votes against them. So whether or not people vote for you to win, you can always take that with you. Victoria, I have been a very big fan in the jury. And don't worry, Stephanie, there's definitely people in the jury that have your back just as much. But it is very, like, somehow every time that I play a game, there's this one person who everyone's like, I don't really talk to them. They're not really giving me the time of day. And I'm like, I know Victoria works for 12 hours, but she spent 3 hours talking to me about quilting a blanket. And I love her. And so I was devastated when everything kind of played out, that it was like, I have to kind of campaign for myself, but I also have to campaign against my friend Victoria. And so I just want to thank you for being a friend. And I just want to let you know that I'm so proud of you for making it all the way this far in your first game, especially because I feel like in a pre-jury phase, there was a part of me that was like scrambling to be like, I need to protect her. I love her. She can't go early. And I went lengths to kind of tell people how great you are. So when I got evicted and I saw that you went on a run to like outright not get nominated again until 4, where you were forced on the block, that's impressive. Everyone was talking about Victoria's going to be the perpetual pawn. She was going to just get nominated and she's going to survive. But you managed to, like, after that eviction, do exactly what you said in your opening speech. So very impressed and proud of you. I think I'm going to wrap this short because I don't want there to be like too much of a distraction. But both of you should be aware that you played really great games. Please make sure that you own it. When people address certain things and criticize things about your games, there's a reason. Make sure that you admit to your flaws, that you can respect that not every game is like a perfect game, but you both played a really great game. So yeah, best of luck to the both of you. I'm really excited to see which one of you is going to win. Either one of you is going to make a fantastic winner. And I'm very happy to be casting my vote for one of you. So best of luck. And I will see you at the reunion later.
I love you, Alex.
Thanks,
So good to see
You
you.
too. Well, bye.
Mwah.
Thank you very much, Alex. And I forgot to say this to the jurors. I hope that you are listening. If you have a question that pertains to both of our finalists, go ahead and just pick someone to open us up to like answer the question instead of playing the who wants to go first dance. Just save us a little bit of time. I just forgot to say that earlier. Next up is Calvin.
Hello. I didn't have too many questions beforehand, but I think I should probably throw in a little bit because I think the next juror is going to be a little bit. So I guess before I jump into game, pleasure playing with y'all. I'm going to start with Victoria first. I just feel like since we're playing for a good cause and everything, we should sort of mention or at least kind of touch on what y'all are playing for. So Victoria, do you mind talking about like what your charity's about?
I would absolutely love to. So the charity that I chose is called Healthy Nurse, Healthy Nation. Their kind of passion project right now is addressing the increasing and quite frankly unacceptable levels of abuse against nurses and nursing staff. Abuse is physical, sexual, and verbal abuse is unfortunately something that I deal with almost every shift that I clock in for, which should not be the case, and it's not tolerated in any other profession. And I used to just kind of laugh it off, say whatever, doesn't matter. And then I had a patient try to take my life at work, and the justice system did nothing about it. They congratulated her on the opportunity for a fresh start and wiped it clean from her record. So while I have to deal with the PTSD of somebody trying to murder me at my place of work where I go to help and heal people, she gets to walk off as though nothing ever happened. And after that situation happened, I almost left healthcare entirely, but decided that I am doing this job for a reason, and I have a genuine passion and zeal for helping others reach an optimal health status and maintain that health status, and that I would not allow a patient's hateful actions to deter from my life's passion. And so now I take every opportunity I can to advocate for myself and for other nurses. We should be able to clock in. We should be able to do our jobs. We should be able to help people, to be there for people, to do all of the amazing things that nurses do without constantly looking over our shoulder in fear of abuse. And so that is why I chose my charity. Thank you for asking.
Of course, thank you for sharing. And Stephanie, you can go next.
I'm playing for Cancer Care, which is a charity that helps research. It gives resources and support groups to families that are struggling with cancer patients. I think I told a few of you that my aunt is currently suffering through life-ending cancer. So I have seen firsthand multiple times of how this impacts families. So I wanted to be able to give back to that and support an organization that provides all these amazing and free resources to families that are going through the same thing.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm hoping that whoever ends up winning, I'm happy that it's going to a good place. I guess a question that I have for the both of you, I'll start with Stephanie since I asked Victoria to go for the last question. I feel like in Big Brother, for me, it's like harder to see what people want at each step of the game, sort of like each point. And I don't think anyone really plays a flawless Big Brother game. So my question to you, Stephanie, and to Victoria after is, what's one point in the game where things went wrong for you, and how did sort of you correct course and make it to the end? Because you're both here, so you're doing something right.
It was your vote out. I was very upset after that because I did want to go to the end with you, and Arun had admitted that voting you out was to weaken me, to make me more vulnerable, because I wanted you as a shield. I knew people would put you up. So after you went out, I felt very vulnerable. That's when I started hitting the block, and I knew that people wanted me out as a target. So I think from that, after that, Jackie and I became much closer. We talked about wanting to target people like Sterling and Megan, who I knew were against me. And I tried to make my relationship closer with Arun, specifically Jackie. It was the main thing. But I knew that I would have to show Arun that Sterling and Megan were obviously the duo of that, and they were capable of winning challenges, and I was still loyal to him. And that if we wanted to win challenges between the two of us, that we needed to get the other people out. So I think that was the biggest shift in my game.
You can go now, Victoria.
Sorry, I'm just chatting away and I'm on mute. Sorry. I think honestly the biggest turning point in my game was when I got nominated by Polo a second time. The first time I was nominated by Polo, I was not the target. I got to choose my opponent. I got to choose who I beat and stay in the game. The second time, I was very much the original target until the target shifted. And up until that point, I hadn't been anyone's target. And it kind of jump-started me into trying to find time to focus on those personal relationships in between working full-time and being in grad school full-time and the busyness of life and all those good things. So I would say that was definitely one of the bigger turning points in my game.
All right, thank you. Just want to say before I ask my last question, this question is to Victoria. I just want to say, I think I speak for the jury when I say that a lot of people are very up in the air. So just be prepared to answer a lot of questions and have some explaining to do a little bit for some people. But Victoria, you talked sort of about latching on to people, seeing them as like sharks and apex predators. Something that I don't really know about your game, since I feel like we didn't really work together, is your end game plans and sort of what you wanted to do. Because I feel like based on your HOH, based on what you're saying in your speech, you didn't want Stephanie at the end. So I'm just kind of wondering, who did you want at the end? Why did you think you can beat them? Like, I'm not sure what would have happened. And what were some ways that you were planning on making that happen, whether it be to get closer to that person or something else? Yeah.
I think really the end game was me and Arun. That was my ideal. I mean, just for the whole Cinderella story of it all, being the losing team to being the two on top. And I also felt like I would be able to beat Arun because, again, I let Arun do a lot of my dirty work for me, and I let Arun kind of take the heat for decisions that we were making together that I was gung-ho on, but allowed him to kind of take the heat for those things. Again, under the guise of, I don't know, I've never done this before.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very good answer. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the reunion.
Thank you so much, Calvin. Next up is Megan.
Hi, you two. First of all, congratulations. I think you both played amazing games and are absolutely such a deserving final two. Also very excited that a woman's winning the season. So shout out to both of you for making that happen. Yeah, so I just want to ask a couple of questions of things that really are on my mind, curiosities that I have about both of your games, particularly through the end phases that I witnessed a little bit of and then didn't get to see the rest of. So I guess I'll start with Stephanie. So you definitely articulated that you were in a really good spot and then found yourself in a position where you were really having to win a lot. And I'm curious if you think that you would have had a path to the end if at any point you hadn't won one of the competitions that you did win through the end game, and what you think that path might have looked like.
I think I definitely would have had to come out stronger. And like if I were ever on the final block, I would have to start pitching myself as like a shield for people that they needed in order to get to the end. Like I said this to her and I was like, take me out at 3, take me out at 4, but not right now. It doesn't make sense for you. And I think I would have had to start doing that to a lot more people. I will admit, I wish I played a game that was less comp based. I wish I played more socially and more strategically. But once I became such a huge threat in the house, I feel like I had no choice but to win. And I didn't want to take a risk of not winning veto. But I think that if I did get to that point, I would have had to start making different plans and pitching different plans to people that I luckily did not have to end up getting there.
Cool. Thank you very much. And Victoria, hello. Love you. Also very curious why you evicted me over Sterling, who is such a powerful force in this game. Like, no, I'm not saying it's a bad move. I just really want to know why.
I have an answer for you. So I, within personal relationships, had gotten to a point where Sterling had made many promises that had she backed out on those promises would have gotten her flamed, I think, in jury. And you unfortunately had made no such promises. And while it was the hardest decision I have made this entire game, because I absolutely adore you, I got to a point where I was like, I can see a very real future where Steph takes me to final 2, Arun takes me to final 2, Sterling takes me to final 2. I wasn't as confident that I could get you to take me to final 2. I really felt like you would take Sterling to final 2 over me. And I just, I couldn't risk it. So I stuck with my gut feeling and sent you home, unfortunately, which made me very sad.
It's all good. There are no hard feelings, and appreciate you both articulating these things and giving some thoughtful thought to all of the questions the jury's asked. Those are really my main questions. I just want to say again, congratulations to both of you. You both have so much to be proud of here. Like I cannot stress enough that you both played very different and both, I would argue, very similarly strong games. And this is not a decided fight by any means. And I think you're both doing an awesome job. And I'm really excited to continue to see how the night plays out. And you should both come away from this feeling really, really proud of yourselves. And good luck.
Thank you so much, Megan. Next up, and I think they are ready to go. Hopefully, I know Polo's had some work tonight. But Polo, it's all you.
Am I live? Can you
Yes.
guys hear me okay? Okay. Sorry if I skipped your introduction, but congrats, you guys. I think you guys should be really proud that you made it all this way. You're in the position that we all wanted to be in at the end of the day. You apologize because I haven't been on the stream so far. I've spoken to Victoria the network. So if I ask any questions that are redundant. You guys still with me?
Lost you for a bit there for a second.
Right. Give me 1 sec, and I'm going to change the internet that I'm on. Give me 2 seconds, please.
We'll wait. No worries.
Ah.
And Polo, maybe leave and come back when you're on the new internet. Or you know what? I will jumpstart that process for them. And make Polo have to come back. You're doing great so far. Yeah, everyone. Hi, all viewers that are watching. Thanks for everyone that's commenting along in the VL and whatnot. Jackie is here, but I don't want to start with Jackie and then Polo just like pop back in. Victoria, I texted Trey because I saw him like pacing around in the background a minute ago.
Did you see my dog walk by in her little rubber ducky robe?
No, I did not.
What a shame. She's the cutest.
Here we go.
Terribly sorry, you guys. Okay, I'm going to start again. I want to congratulate you guys once again. You guys have done what everybody has aimed to do in this game, and you should be very proud of yourselves. So, I just want to give you some insight into where I am as a voter. I played pretty closely with Stephanie throughout the game, and I didn't really play too closely with Victoria throughout the game. But my vote is very much in the air. I do want to say that I haven't been able to keep up with the stream so far, but excuse me if I'm a little redundant with my questions. So, I want to start out with pretty individual questions. I'll start with Victoria. I'll say Stephanie's question, then you can go back whichever order you want. So, Victoria, obviously we didn't play too closely in the game. I put you up twice. My question for you is, at the start of the game, when you're getting to know everybody, I think the goal is to harbor as many relationships as possible. And I feel like we never really got there with one another. My perspective is that it was a little bit tough to go from the regular introductions to the game talk. And I would love some insight into your perspective in talking to me. Was it different with other people? Was it just a matter of scheduling? Because we both had pretty, tough schedules to work with. So at the start of the game, I want to know why you think that we never really got to the next stage of talking game. Excuse me.
I do think it was 100% ships passing in the wind. Every time I was available, you were unavailable. Every time you were available, I was unavailable. It was one of those things where there were very few times where you and I could get our schedules aligned to actually like call one another, talk with one another, etc. So I think it was very much scheduling. And then of course, after you put me on the block the first time and then voted to evict me immediately afterwards, it got to a point where I knew you're probably not somebody that is ever going to be on my side, and that's okay. You kind of pigeonholed yourself into an area where you had to be, I got to get her gone because I put her up and then I told her I voted her out and I would be her biggest target. So she's my target now and I need her out. So I do think at first it was very much a schedule dependent thing. We just couldn't get available at the same time. But I think further on in the game, it really did become You played your game, I played mine. Your game made it very difficult for me to connect with you.
Thank you so much for that answer. I really appreciate it. Next, I'm going to ask Stephanie a question, then I'll ask a question to both of you guys that will be the same. So Stephanie, obviously at the start of the game, we started working pretty closely with one another from my perspective. We chatted a lot about getting an alliance together, ultimately ended up with the Addams family. Before that, actually. So when it came time that I was on the block for a second time, obviously Megan, quote unquote, offered herself up to be put on the block. Calvin says that he would have put her up anyway, whatever. And obviously I was never comfortable, but I was like, this could, in best case scenario, this is something where everybody gets Megan out, quote unquote, because she wants to, or is like teetering on the line. I guess I would just love some insight into like what factors went into you voting me out, at what point you made that decision. And then I can mention this now. I feel like the only person who I was kind of like emotionally hurt by voting me out was you. At this point, like in time, I'm over it. But like right when I got voted out, I was really hurt and I was really emotional and I was like, what the hell? I'm questioning everything. So I just want you to talk about why you voted me out, when you knew you were going to, and then how you handled it, if there's anything you would have changed, or if there's anything that I just don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough decision. I think if the nom stayed the same, I would not have voted you out. I would have voted Sterling out. Sorry, Sterling. When Megan asked to be voted out, that was difficult because I didn't want to go against her wishes, but also at that point, Arun had revealed to me about your alliance with Megan, Sterling, and him, and you had not revealed that to me. I tried to talk about that with you. I admit that I should have talked to you about it earlier in the day, so it wasn't quite a blindside at the very end, but I knew that you had this other alliance before that I wasn't really looped into, and we had been trying to get on an Addams Family call for like days at that point, and I know Megan was really busy. We all had different schedules, but I kept trying. I was like, let's meet at this time, let's meet at this time. It never really happened. And then Arun told me that when the two of you talked, you would speak about me in a way that was like, oh, I got Stephanie, like I got Stephanie. And I didn't want to be seen as like your pawn. And Alex had warned me that people saw us as a final two. I didn't want the target of a duo where we would go up against each other. You would beat me in a veto, you would take yourself down. But I knew that at that point where you didn't reveal your alliance with the other people and the fact that Addams Family was dwindling down, Megan wouldn't really speak in our group chat, but I heard from Arun that she was speaking in the group chat of the other people. I knew that you were kind of closer to them, and that's where I got a little nervous. But it was a difficult decision, and I think that ultimately I decided based on challenge threat as well, because I knew if we were seen as a duo, I wouldn't want to be against you. And then also I knew that I would be seen as a threat later on in the game, and I would have to win those vetoes myself to take myself down.
That's another great answer. I really appreciate that. There's some insight in there that I didn't know, and it makes sense to me. So this is going to be a tough decision for me. So the question I have for both of you is walk me through your loyalties, your alliances, people you worked with throughout the game. I guess the ones that are most important and then the ones you feel you need to mention, and how they changed throughout the different phases of the game. Did you end up working with the same people throughout the entire time? Did it change? And you know, how did it get you where you are now? And you guys can go in whatever order you like.
Steph,
Sure.
you can go first since Victoria went first last.
No, I'll go first. I started off the game, I think I tried to have like a pretty good relationship with everybody. I just didn't want to be in anyone's bottom two. I worked with Calvin and Arun a lot off the bat. I think that was solidified by the train of thought. HOH, we had shared a lot of information. Arun and I separated ourselves to be on like different sides of the house. So he would get information from Alex, Jane, Victoria while I was in the Addams family. So we were always very close. I worked very closely with Sterling for the first half, but I did know that Sterling had researched my org history and shared that with a lot of people. And I knew that she was eventually going to cut me towards endgame, maybe like 6, 7, which is when it ended up happening. So then I started getting wary of that, and I tried to work with new people. I was always close with Arun Calvin, but I got closer to Jackie, especially after Alex's vote out. I used his speech as a way to get closer to her, being like, you and I are kind of left out of these big alliances. Like, we have to work together at this point. And then I was always loyal to Green Team. I know we had discussed very early on, like saving ourselves and wanting to like have a buffer so we wouldn't be the targeted team. But I think that once we started winning, I was always close to Green Team. I knew that if I was put up on the block next to a Green Team member, I probably would have stayed because I had less points and people wanted immunity at that point. But once I like trusted everyone. That's why I went for the reverse to HOH, because it was right before live night. I knew I could guarantee all 4 of us to be safe for 2 rounds. So I did work pretty closely with green team. I tried to minimize that with everyone else and tell them, oh, I don't care about teams, like whatever. But I did want the 4 of us to make it through live night. And then I think I pivoted with Jackie. I worked with Victoria towards the end game. We had a Final 4 group chat, and then me, her, and Arun. But I think I stayed close to the people that I was close to until that I had reason to vote them out, which is like when hearing about other alliances.
Perfect. And Victoria?
Yeah, so to be honest, at the beginning of the game, whether I wanted to work with Arun or not, I definitely got forced into working with Arun, and we became a pretty good duo. He was somebody that I was able to get a lot of information out of. He was somebody I shared a lot of information with, but not all of my information, because you can never trust anybody. My goal was to chat up everybody, see who naturally I click with, and really foster those relationships while still remaining social and chit-chatty with the people that I maybe don't naturally click with as well. Because some personalities are going to go together and some aren't. And that's human nature. That's fine. Towards the beginning of the game, I also formed a really strong alliance with Alex as well, which I don't know if you were listening or not when he took his turn, but he did feel as though I was somebody that he wanted to protect and keep in the game. And I definitely knew that and definitely used that to my advantage. Not taking advantage of him, because I don't like personal things in games. I think games are meant to be game and personal is meant to be personal. But yeah, and then walking towards the midpoint of the game, I was in a couple of alliances, the big one being a me, Alex, Shane, and Arun, and then there was a me, Stephanie, Calvin, and Arun as well. And then again, continuing to progress forward, creating a me, Arun, Sterling alliance that really benefited me throughout the end of this game. It was fun and interesting to see people that if at the beginning of the game you had told me you're going to work closely with this person and this person is going to help you and you're going to trust this person, I would have probably laughed. With honestly Calvin and Sterling being the 2 biggest on that list. Those were 2 people that everybody talked about behind their backs. Everybody talked about how they weren't trustworthy. They were either liars or pawns. And I ended up working pretty closely with both of them, and thoroughly enjoyed working closely with both of them and clearly benefited from working closely with both of them. So, yeah. And then Stephanie was one who I knew would get far in the game because I had conversations with more than one person about her org history and about how she plays the game and about her very subtle approach. And I definitely intentionally got close with Stephanie because of that information. And because I like Stephanie. Stephanie's great. But on a game sense, definitely used that information to make my decisions on who I align with.
Perfect. I just want to apologize for the shaky start for my jury questioning. And so if it's cool with you guys, I just want to take a moment to give you guys both your props individually from my perspective. Victoria, even though we didn't work closely together in the game, every time we did get on call, I was immediately obsessed with your personality. You're very funny. You're obviously very smart. And I feel like you're very direct at least in this game. And I feel like that worked well for your reputation. And every time I got to talk to you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Especially the second time I put you on the block, I literally was just talking to you and you were just kind of like, being pretty honest and maybe a little bit sassy, but not anything crazy. And I was like, wow, you're so cool. Like, it would have been cool to play this game with you. I just want to say that, I wish we could have played more. That doesn't mean I'm not going to vote for you. I just want to say that it was a pleasure playing with you, and I wish that we could have played more. That's not saying, I'm not voting for you.
It was a pleasure playing with you as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed the very few times that we were able to call and always celebrate good news good news for you together.
Which is so funny. Wish you the best of luck. I'm gonna go on to Stephanie. Stephanie, it was also a pleasure playing with you. I feel like from the moment that we, started talking to everybody, I was like, okay, Stephanie's somebody I want to work with. I feel like you were super chill. You came across super approachable. And while working together in the Addams family and whatever, I just really saw, I don't know, it was kind of lighthearted, but actual good gameplay. And obviously being on the green team, we did really well in terms of HOHs. One of my favorite moments was you winning HOH, and us going on a call, and I was at like a concert, and I was just like, I just felt like real life in the game were won. And obviously, it was a moment that was good for my game, but still, it just felt really cool to be able to chat up when I was outside. And I think you did a really good job of insulating yourself in this game. I feel like you were not on a lot of people's radar in the beginning. And then when you were on people's radar, you went and on a crazy comp streak. I was talking shit about you in the very chat. I was like, maybe this time she'll lose. And you never did. So I just want to give you your props because you played a game that I wanted to once I started winning comps, and I wanted to win out through the end. And I just want to give you your props for that. You're super cool too. And I might have been rooting for you to get voted out after me so that I didn't look as stupid as I felt. But that doesn't mean I'm not rooting for you in the final two. I'm going to have to cast my vote directly after this, but I think either of you would be a great winner for the season. And I wish you the best of luck, genuinely.
Thanks, Polo.
Thank you so much,
Talk to you
Polo.
later.
Hello.
All right, next up, she's been waiting in the background for a while, and there she is, ready to go. It's Jackie.
Hi, y'all. First off, congratulations to you both. I know you've heard this a whole bunch, but I truly, truly mean this. You both have played the games that I really wanted to. If it wasn't for me holding up the bottom, I'd have been a beast like Stephanie. I am sure of it. And if it wasn't for me being so doggone dumb, I probably would have been able to be as smart and savvy as you, Victoria. I really do appreciate watching both of your games unfold. Polo took some of my questioning actually, and then Alex loved both of y'all, and then so I actually have a hypothetical question because I'm still up in the air. Yeah, both of you, we both had like kind of the same pre-jury situation where it was like ships passing in the night. We weren't able to really connect, and we never really played our games together until situations occurred. And it's ironic how once Alex left, me and Stephanie got real close, and Victoria, we were still not able to make that connection. So my question though, because I'm still up in the air, because I'm watching both of your games very objectively, and I want to make sure that I'm choosing the right hot female who's going to represent this season. And a hypothetical question. In all of the alliances, or however many alliances that you had, and then thinking about your path to this point, give me hypothetical. Where would I fit? Where would you put me?
I can go first. Once Mattress Firm was created, I was genuinely that group to the end because I knew that I could work with both of you. I think that at that point, I would have cut you at 3, honestly, because I think that if it was you, me, and Calvin, I think Calvin and I played similar games, but I think my game was a little bit more visible than his. So I think that I could have beaten him much more easily in the end. And I think you had a lot of friends on jury, and you were able to adapt a lot. So I think that I would not feel comfortable sitting next to you at the end, but I definitely wanted to work with that group till the very end.
To be completely truthful, if you hadn't have gone up against Arun, I would have been voting to keep you. I am sitting here right now because you made a very ballsy move in my favor, and I had mad respect for that. Again, it's a hypothetical, so it would it really depends on who you went up against. There were plenty of people that had you gone up against them, I would have picked you. There were plenty of people that you did go up against that I picked you. I can't say for sure if I would take you to final 2 or not, but you would have made it far if you had not have been pitted against Arun. But I just simply could not have voted Arun out.
That's fair. Thank you so much. Again, congratulations, ladies, for making it to this point. Y'all did something that we all couldn't do, and y'all are looking fabulous while you're doing it. Congratulations. Have a wonderful night. Have fun. See you later.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Next up, the fallen angel of the season. It is Sterling.
Hello to you both. It's so nice to see you, Victoria. We are matching clearly. So I just want to say I am so proud of you both. I think you both are here for completely different reasons, and it's really cool to see you both here. I clearly was gunning for one of you. But no matter what is said tonight, I just want you all to know that no matter who wins, you should be proud. And no matter what I'm about to say, I think you guys played great games. But I am going to follow through on my promise, and I am going to bring slides. So give me one moment. My entire screen.
I got you.
Okay, can we see? Can I get a verbal confirmation from somebody?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I can't see anybody. But this is how I really wanted to argue my final game. I wanted to talk about not just the alliances that I made or the moves that I made, but the qualities of what it means to be a great winner. Do you deserve to win? Maybe you do. As much as me, we'll find out. But I really just want to say good players make good moves and good relationships. And I think you two are very much in line with that. But what makes a good winner? Me. But neither of you are me. So we have to go to the next plan. And that is going to be the 3 R's. This is what I really wanted to argue, but I didn't get a chance to do it for myself. So I'm going to argue it for both of you. I'm going to talk about your pros and I'm going to talk about your cons. Just because it's a con doesn't mean that it was necessarily awful or it was bad. It's just a critique in which I think that you could have improved on. The 3 R's that I have listed are reliability, resourcefulness, and respect. Reliability is in relation to your fellow competitor. Resourcefulness is in relation to yourself. And respect is your jury management. So we're going to jump right into this and we're going to get into Stephanie. Stephanie, you played a phenomenal game, a game that I wish I would have played. I think a lot of us would have played. And I knew that this could come down to this and I was worried. But let's talk about what you've done well. In terms of reliability, you knew what to share. You had so much information coming in and you knew what to share and not to overshare it. And that HOH win to solidify the green team's immunity at Live Night did you wonders. And you were able to still prove that you were always good at comms, even towards the end, even if that was towards more so for yourself. When it came to resourcefulness, you always kept yourself safe in the end. You know where the relationships were, and you kept relevant information for yourself. And you made sure that within those alliances that were created, you were insulated, and that even if people were talking about you, you were not going to go up anytime soon. And when it came to your respect, you had very limited dishonesty. You withheld a lot of stuff, but you weren't lying to people outright. And towards the end, you did admit this to me on our call, that you really never tried to be fake to anybody. And I think that is a big asset for you. As to where I think you could have improved greatly, you had too many allies and not enough trust when it really mattered. I feel like there were plenty of people who were willing to look out against you when the shit hit the fan. And I think you could have done more to ensure that people really did trust you, and that people wanted you around. And I think that also then leads into your resourcefulness. Towards the end, you really weren't talking to a portion of people, or you weren't being as honest. And I feel like it limited your options. And I do think that that is a pure weakness. And I think even prior to jury, there were people who spoke about you not talking that much, even in pre-jury. You were very selective with the information you were giving, which is great, but you were also limiting your ability to build trust. And then when it came to respect, did you try with everyone that you could have? And I feel like that is something that is going to come back around in people's consideration of votes. Victoria, I just want to say, I think people have underestimated you. I'm so glad to see you here. And I can't wait to talk about your game. We're going to get into the pros. When it came to reliability, you were upfront. You were so upfront about what you wanted. Even if you were playing dumb, you still knew what you wanted and you weren't going to lie about it. And people always knew where your head was at. You built yourself up with a lot more options than people may have realized, but that still didn't stop you from having agency. And you always were building up personal in-game connections, even when people really didn't see it. And I think you've demonstrated that tonight. When it came to resourcefulness, you really never needed to win a damn thing. And I give you full credit for that. People wanted you in the end. People cared about you. People probably thought, oh yeah, I want Victoria in the end. I think I can beat her. And you didn't need to win anything. And the one comp you did win, you kicked my ass. And I must give you credit because that was hard. That was not a simple competition. It was not luck. It was pure effort. And you had full agency. You voted a minority, I think almost just as much as me, which is it, and it speaks to the fact that no one could really influence you. You knew what you wanted in the end. You were the most honest player in this entire game, and you have little to no blood on your hands, and that is impressive getting to the end. As for your cons and things I believe that you could have improved upon, you were not always a reliable vote for your allies. Within you choosing to vote the way you wanted, people were definitely freaked out. Like, damn, do I really have her? Don't know. You did not, or you could not win as many comps. And I know that you admitted to throwing them, and I know you didn't need them, but still, winning comps for your allies could have come in favor and potentially help boost you, but I think it also didn't necessarily hurt you. And there were times, and I think Polo was an example, that you were not always the most communicative. And we all have lives, and you have probably one of the harder jobs here, but I think that could have been improved upon, especially in the beginning. Resourcefulness, and part of me is still kind of wondering, I don't always understand your intentions, and we'll get to that in just a second, but unsure of your game plans. And I think going to the end with Arun, I think that makes sense for you. But I think there were other choices that I think could have been on the table. And I want to know if you always assess the options. In respect, I have not a single note. You were fabulous. And I must say, I do admire somebody who is able to be honest, and never once did you get nasty. Never once did you spew harsh lies. And I think you were authentically yourself. I think I stopped sharing. Yes, I did. So now we're back to me. So time for questions. I'm going to start with Stephanie. Stephanie, I have a few questions for you. I want to ask you, do you regret not talking to people towards the end of the game? Do you think it would have given you more options and towards the end? I want to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a double-edged sword. So for Megan, I did try and talk to her a lot, like through Adam's family, once we hit jury. And then after that, I kept reaching out, being like, what are your thoughts on the vote? I didn't get any responses until she put me on the block. And even after that, I do wish I tried more with you as well. I knew that you were always against me, like kind of with the preconception of previous games before. So I was always wary of that, but I do wish that we talked earlier. Like our last call was great. We exchanged a lot of information. I kind of do wish that we did that earlier, but I think that did play into my strategy of how I told you I never wanted to be fake to anyone. And I guess it's because I'm more used to a survivor format, but I don't believe in like just getting on call just to lie to people. So I think part of it, I had personal reasons of not being as social towards the end, but also I think that I didn't want to just talk to people on calls just to lie to them, because I think that that would be bad jury management. I feel like if people didn't feel backstabbed by me, like I think that also, you mentioned how I had allies, but not too much trust with everyone. I wanted to make sure that when I was HOH, I had options to put up on the block that people wouldn't feel totally betrayed, and that like I had enough allies to keep me safe, but I didn't want people to feel super burned when I voted them out, or if I had to put someone on the block. So I think that that was pretty calculated of not talking to people that like if I had won, I would have put you and Megan up because I didn't talk to you, and I feel like you couldn't be too upset because it was like mutual. We didn't talk too much, but I do wish that I talked more at the end. It would have given me a few more paths to the end.
About our call, how genuine were you in that? If you weren't, it's fine, I can take a hit, but like I would love to know like the level of genuineness and like trust you were presenting me with, because I do know you were blindsided when I did not go at 5, so I just want to know how genuine that call really was.
I definitely was genuine because I did believe you. I knew that your logic made total sense. I would have preferred to go to the end with you over Arun because Arun and I played very similarly. At that point, I would have gone with that plan. I had known that I hadn't won veto because I already played and I knew it wasn't good. So really the power was out of my hands and I was trying to make as many options as I could. And at that point, I knew I wouldn't be able to hand you the veto win. If you won veto, I would have been happy with going with that plan. If anyone else won veto, you would have gone out and it wouldn't have been my fault. So I think that that was part of like, I wish I did that earlier, but that's the thing of like creating different paths. Like I totally believed you. If that had happened, I would have been more than happy to go with that. But at that point, I just wanted different options for myself at 3.
If it was me, you, and Arun, would you have taken me?
Yes.
Thank you for your honesty. Did you tell Arun anything about that final 2 call?
I told him exactly what I told you I was telling him.
Okay, I believe you. Can you please, and just really quickly, could you just tell me, even outside of me, what your ideal final 4 was if you had not had to win your way to the end?
I think my ideal final 4 would have been me, Victoria, Arun, and Megan, because I think that I could have beaten them in challenges easier than you. And I think that I had a shot of convincing Arun that the jury was bitter and to possibly take me to the end. I knew the chances were slim, but I think that I needed to win the challenge at the end, and that was my best shot.
Thank you. Victoria, I don't have as many questions for you, but I really do want to know, can you please tell me the move with the most intention you had this entire game? I think people need to know that. I know I will need to know that, and it's going to be very important. So can you please tell me the move with the most intention for your game?
Yes. If I'm being completely truthful, the move with the most intention for my game was when I voted to send Megan home. And I talked about this with her as well. I saw a very real world where Stephanie would take me to final 2, Arun would take me to final 2, and I saw a very real possibility of you taking me to final 2. And I did not have that same level of confidence with Megan. Because I really could see a world where she took you to final 2. And so I was like, I'm happy with Sterling being final 2, but not at my expense. So that move, and I was very intentional about every move I made. I live my life with significant intentionality. I do nothing that is not intentional. That's a lie. Sometimes I do things unintentionally, but we all have our moments. We're all a ditz sometimes. But every move I made in this game was with intention, but that one was probably the most intentional move of the game. Yeah.
Okay. You two have been phenomenal. I cannot wait to see who wins. I would love either of you as a winner. Thank you both so much for an amazing game. I truly do love you both, and I can't wait to talk to you at the reunion. This is your fallen angel, Sterling, signing off.
Love
Goodbye.
you.
Thank you, Sterling. And last but not least, you saw him a few minutes ago. He's back for his questioning. It is Arun.
What up, homies? Y'all did amazing. I am so proud of what you just gave to this jury. Victoria, you are so self-aware, and I am so proud you brought sharks back into this because you did latch on so damn well to these people, and I let you do that. I knew I was doing everything for you. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I want to do this for her. You just let me do it, and it was just amazing. And massive, massive props for being as self-aware as you are. Stephanie, I am just as equally as proud of you because we needed to differentiate ourselves, and you were able to do that towards the end of the game. You knew that I was coming for you with that Calvin vote. There was no point in me hiding that anymore, and we had many and open, honest conversations about it. The amount of times I was trying to break up with you and just failing was atrocious because you kept on winning veto after veto after veto. And I just kept on having to rip up my notes. Like, okay, I'm not breaking up with her this episode. I'm not breaking up with her this episode. I was like, God damn it, am I ever going to do it? Like, I really want to. And it just never happened. And what the heck? Oh, Ducky, dog Ducky, sorry. And you laid it out all perfectly, both of you. But I have one thing to note. You mentioned me 17 times today, Stephanie. And Victoria, you mentioned me 22 times in the span of all of these questions. I need you to tell me one thing that both of you did that was not influenced by me, that was of your own accords, that you did either one, without me knowing, or two, you did, but you didn't want me to know because you knew I'd be mad. Victoria, you're first.
So, I clued you in on a lot of things because I knew you were a good player who would get me far, and I fed you information often, but I kept stuff close to the chest as well. Sterling and I had plenty of conversations outside of you, outside of our alliance, and where we were making plans to work towards final two. And now if it had come down to me picking between the two of you, I still hadn't had my mind made up. But there were a lot of conversations Sterling and I had that I 100% kept from you in their entirety. And I also played down a lot of some conversations that I had with people and fed you enough bits of information to set you on the scent of something without showing all of my cards at the beginning. And that includes like conversations that I had with Alex, specifically conversations that I had with Sterling. But yeah.
So I told you a lot of information, obviously, but I think that the timing of that was definitely calculated. I was invited into Chartreuse, I think 1 or 2 rounds before I told you about it. I waited until you told me that that group was proposed with you, and then I was like, oh, if he's sharing, I'll share as well to put more suspicion on Maddie, Shane, and Polo. The Adams family, I also told you about 2 rounds after it was formed when I found that it was good for me to tell you. And then Mattress Firm, which is me, Calvin, and Jackie, I never told you about. And you did ask me if I ever thought about turning on you, and I'm sorry I lied. I did consider it. I did plant seeds with Calvin that you wanted to cut him because you didn't trust him. And I had made plans with like Calvin and Jackie, and the fact that you didn't find out about them, I think that 3 was pretty hidden.
You know, that's really funny because that Goofy Gang alliance I talked to you about was also made days before. That is so funny.
I figured that we were both doing the same thing.
That's so funny. Yeah, great answers, both of you. I think you take this time to really bring it home in your closing remarks. I think you both did a wonderful job. I am thrilled that this is over. And I'm thrilled that the reunion is happening and we can just talk normally in a non-game sense. You two are one of the closest friends I've made, and I can't wait to just do this again in a non-game setting with you all. Good luck.
I adore you, Arun.
Thanks, Arun.
Thank you to who I'm now affectionately calling Hoodie Aruni, and sending you back to the jury. All right, that is everybody. So now you will give your closing remarks. Still a 10-minute window each, but like, we've been at this for an hour and a half now, so get your final punches in, and Victoria will go first, then Stephanie will go, and then I'll pop back in.
I'm not throwing any punches. I am just going to talk about me. I think, Stephanie, you played a great game. But here's, I guess, a little recap of my game. Because I'm being completely honest, I'm not 100% sure how this is supposed to go. So I'm going to take recap literally and just recap my game. Somebody stop me and tell me if I'm wrong. But like I said, I definitely used other people's power to benefit me. I kept alliances that I was in close to the chest until it benefited me. For example, I did not tell anyone about my very first alliance until Kay had already been voted out and that alliance was no longer. I kept that one secret until it was no longer an alliance, and then I used it to fuel some fires, and I played very genuinely, authentically me. I played a very honest game, like Sterling said. If I said something, I meant it. If I said something and changed my mind, I went and told that person that I changed my mind. I feel like I did jury management very well, probably with the exception of you, Polo, but there was, it is what it is. But I stuck to my guns. Every decision I made with my full chest. And I am very proud of the game that I played, especially having no idea what I was doing for at least the very beginning of it, and at points throughout the game. And I'm very thankful to all of you who took the time to explain things to me and tell me how things work. And I took all of your tips and I utilized them, and here I am. Like others have said, I was somebody people wanted to keep around, and I think that should stand for something. I know Kay said she was a cockroach, but your girl went on the block 5 times and made it off 5 times. So I would call myself the cockroach this season. But Stephanie, I love you. You played a great game. I am so thankful that I got to play alongside you and alongside all of you in the jury. And I hope you pick me.
Thanks, Victoria. I think that we both played a very different game. So I want to thank the jury for sharing their insights. And I kind of want to just touch on the points that you guys made and try and just clear it up one more time. So I think I played a very visible game, and I wasn't afraid to execute the moves. And I was the one who actually did them. I try not to rely on other people because obviously the person I can trust most is myself. I think that during pre-jury, I had a harder path in the fact that I had a fully intact team, that we were always like 1 or 2 for point scores, and then that means that everyone was going to come for us. So I think I had to really insulate myself and build those relationships to prevent myself from going in the pre-jury. I think that the best way to guarantee safety is to avoid the block, and I think I did that, not touching the final block, not being able to, not having a vote cast against me, and not even having the opportunity for someone to vote against me. I think that one of my weaknesses, which was mentioned, was me not talking to as many people as I could have, or not building as deep relationships as I could have. And this was very intentional. I do not like to be fake or lie to people on calls. If they weren't really in my plans, I knew they were working against me. I did not want to lead people on, drag them along. So that is why I did that. And also I wanted to have options if I was in power. If I had to make a decision, there were people that I could not upset very easily because of that. And then although I did have to win challenges, which I do wish I didn't have to, I wish I could have played a more social game, but unfortunately that did happen. I was prepared for that to happen, and that's why I chose to target my biggest challenge threats in Alex and Polo early, so that I knew that when it came time for me to actually try and challenges and need them, I was able to win. And I made it to the end despite everyone wanting me out for many rounds now. I took the game into my own hands, always playing for myself and depending on myself. So thank you for all your questions, and I hope you vote for me to win.
All right. A very good final two, a very good discussion with the jury. Jury, you guys did incredible in questioning and taking them to task on their games. I don't know what's about to happen, so let's get to it. Jurors, you can now send your video votes to your production chats, just declaring who you would like to win. We don't need long, drawn-out explanations. You could do that another time. But yeah, send your votes for a winner now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 5-minute counter on and let everyone go backstage, and that counter will not be like the truth. So if it runs out and I don't have all the votes yet, I'm just going to run it back. If I get all the votes before the counter runs up, then I'll come back in. So everyone hang tight. And we are going to come back with a winner reveal shortly. Let me find the video of the countdown. Here it is. All right, we're ready. All right, I have the votes. I'm going to bring everyone in. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. You're looking to see your name 4 times, 7 votes. Hold on, I'm not ready yet. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Everyone bully him.
Bring back bullying.
Okay, I'm ready now. Congratulations to you both. You've both played incredible games, and the jury did not have it easy tonight. There are 7 votes. You need 4 to win. You want to see your name on my little index cards in front of my face right here. Here we go. Vote number 1 goes to Stephanie. Vote number 2 to Victoria. Vote number 3 to Stephanie. It's 2-1 Stephanie. Next vote goes to Stephanie. It's 3-1 Stephanie. Next vote to Victoria. It is 3-2. Next vote goes to Victoria. It is 3-3. It comes down to the final vote. And the winner of Big Brother Hometowns season 21. Congratulations, Stephanie. You are the winner of Big Brother Hometowns 21. Congratulations. Wow, it has not come down to 1 vote in quite some time. Stephanie, come off of mute and tell us how you're feeling. I'm gonna bring some prod in.
Thank you guys so much. I've loved playing with all of you. Thank you for production. This has been a blast. I have not played a game in 3 years, and I'm super glad that I decided to give this one a shot and meet all of you. So thank you.
Carl, you look like you just raided on screen with smoke behind you.
Great job to both of you. This was a great final 2. We thoroughly enjoyed watching both of you defend your games. Congrats, Steph.
And all night, truly, as the questions went on, us in the prod chat were like, I think Victoria's going to win. I think Steph's going to win. We were going back and forth the whole night because you both just defended your games so incredibly well. So both incredibly self-aware about the games you played, the type of answers you had to give, and it came down to the wire as it should. An incredible season, an incredible winner, Stephanie. Congratulations. And Victoria, your first time playing a game like this. And you got 3 more jury votes than your husband did when he did this way back when. So
Victoria, no one,
Let
if you were
Rex
tuning in
say.
for the night, you would have never known this was your first game the way you handled yourself tonight. You would have never known.
Anything else anyone wants to say before we sign us off here for the evening? And then all players will head over to the reunion chat where we'll give awards and we'll talk to the season. And Carl will tell you all the things that you may or may not know about the season. It's going to be a great time. But otherwise, congratulations to Stephanie, our winner of Big Brother Hometowns 21. What a great game. What a fun night. And of course, to our runner-up, Victoria, who also just killed it all season long. Thank you to my production team who just carried this season on their backs while I was busy being a dad or whatever excuse I want to give today. Just an incredible job to my team, to Carl for hosting all the comps and hosting morning tea every day, to everyone else giving updates upon updates upon updates, Lee for all the graphics, Max for doing the
Whatever
timer
Max
during
does.
live night. And everything in between. I'm Josh Consalvo signing us off. The Chase is back tomorrow night. Come watch. It's a really fun episode featuring some people that you probably know around the community. But until then, I'm Josh Consalvo signing us off from Big Brother Hometowns 21 and our winner, Stephanie. Congratulations. Good night, everybody.